Now let's just go through the duodenum. So what I'm going to talk about the duodenum is actually the lecture starts now. So the duodenum is actually C-shaped tube. Remember that. This guy is actually a C-shaped tube. You can see that it's kind of a C shape, and it's actually 10-inch, or you can say 2.5 centimeter long, which is considerably small, because the jejunum and ileum together, they actually got those guys form 6 meter long, all that loop, all jejunum and ileum. But this guy, which is C-shaped, is kind of 2.5 centimeter, or you can say, no, actually it's 25 centimeter, and it's 10-inch long. So this guy actually joins your stomach over here. Your big stomach is located. So these guys join your stomach and jejunum together, and it actually receives the two ducts, which is your bile duct and your pancreatic duct, which contain bile juice and pancreatic juice. So one thing that is more important in this duodenum is your first inch of your duodenum. So kind of consider this one is your first inch of your duodenum, or your first inch or first part of duodenum. This guy out here, you can consider this one. So this structure is very important, because this is the common point, where ulcer is actually, the ulcer occurs. But one thing more, it is important because this guy actually resembles your stomach. So if it is in viva, in your auspice, then usually the teacher or the invigilator is going to ask you the question related to this structure. So focus on this one. So how this guy, first inch of your duodenum, resembles your stomach, as because it is actually covered by the peritoneum. Where does that peritoneum comes from? That peritoneum is actually the peritoneum of a stomach, which actually covered up this first inch of the first part of the duodenum, and also superior to the superior structure. Superiorly, it is actually covered by the lesser omentum, and inferiorly it is covered by the greater omentum, because greater omentum kind of go downstairs and lesser omentum kind of go upward and attaches towards the kind of lesser omentum attaches towards the on the stomach, upper part of the stomach, and towards the, or you can say lesser curvature of the stomach towards the liver, and again that one extend toward the first inch of the duodenum. So this is very important. That's the actual important of the duodenum, first inch of the duodenum, and the remaining duodenum is actually your retroperitoneal. So if somebody is asking you or you can say the if somebody is asking you that is that the whole duodenum is actually retroperitoneal, or you can say, or they'll ask you, is it totally covered by the peritoneum? So you will be saying it's not totally covered by the peritoneum. It's actually mostly it's retroperitoneal, but the first part of it is actually it's not, because it's covered by the peritoneum itself, which is the peritoneum of the peritoneum of the stomach. Now let's move further and talk about the first part of the duodenum. So the first part of the duodenum is actually it starts as the pyloris. We have just talked about it, and it kind of goes upward. You can see it kind of go upward and backward. I can't show it backward over here. It kind of goes this way, like this way. You can see it by my hand, like it kind of goes upward and backward, like that. And it's actually on the transpyloric plane, which is actually your first lumbar vertebra. So if we consider that one, this is your L1 level, and it's kind of located over here, like if you go posterior to it, you will get to the transpyloric plane, which is at the level of the lumbar, or first lumbar vertebra. Now talk about the relations of the first part of the duodenum, because now we're going to talk about the relations of the first part of the duodenum. So we're going to talk about the anterior relation, the posterior relation, its superior relationship, and its inferior relation. So in order to talk about the relation of the first part of the duodenum, we'll be using this chart, where I'll be mentioning the different names or different parts of the structures that are in relation to the first part of the duodenum, whether they are anterior, whether they are posterior or superior or inferior to the first part of the duodenum. I'll be using this diagram, and we'll be mentioning structures on this page. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a pink color. So over here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about the first relationship. So if somebody's asking you what is the anterior, like if somebody's watching your abdomen from front side, so it's anterior, like anterior to the first part of duodenum. So we have two structures anteriorly. What are those structures? It's actually the your quadrate lobe of the liver. I can't show the quadrate lobe of the liver, and the second structure is the gallbladder. So kind of it's you remember this way. Your liver is kind of on the right side, and it's you know that the liver is on the right side, and it's kind of hiding your this guy, your first part of the like this one, like this area. So this area is kind of posterior. This is the, remember, this is the quadrate lobe of your liver, and behind it, you know that behind the liver we have the gallbladder attached to it. So if somebody is asking you what is anterior to the first part of the duodenum, you'll be saying the first part of the quadrate of the liver, and again we have the gallbladder also anterior to the first part of the duodenum. So over here the gallbladder attaches. So what we are going to say, the quadrate lobe of the liver, the first part we're going to say is the first structure that we have is the anteriorly is the quadrate lobe of liver, and plus we have the gallbladder, right? These two structures form the anterior to the first part of the duodenum. This posterior, if somebody is asking what's posterior, so you'll be saying that we have on the first inch, we just talked about it, on the first inch of the first part we have the lesser sac, because it's kind of attaches to the peritoneum. Peritoneum is coming from the stomach, so we're gonna say first inch we have, in first inch we have the lesser sac, not for the whole part, right? For the lesser sac, for the first inch. And other structures that are posterior are actually the gastroduodenal artery. Remember that the gastroduodenal artery is kind of coming this way, going posterior to the first part of the duodenum. So we'll be adding up another artery, that is gastroduodenal artery. Another structure that is behind or posterior, this one is your bile duct. You can see this bile duct is coming from the gallbladder. We just talked about it. This is liver. We have got the gallbladder over here, and from gallbladder we have got the bile duct. So this bile duct is kind of moving posterior to the first part. So we kind of say that bile duct is also the structure that is posterior to the first part of the abdomen. And other structure we have the portal vein. So portal vein is kind of also on the posterior side of the first part. So we'll be adding up the portal vein on the posterior side. And other structure we have, you can see over here the big vena cava. So you will be adding up the inferior vena cava, or you can say IVC. All right, so this is anterior relation. We have the quadrate lobe of liver and gallbladder. On the posterior view, we have got this guy called the first inch of lesser sac and all that, GDA, bile duct, portal vein, and the inferior vena cava, right?